What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from HTA RL, Hit the Apex Racing League. This is going to be F1 2019 on the PS4 platform. Round 6, Circuit of the Americas, here for Season 3 of the Assists League. I've got Ozone Leaston joining me in the booth once again, from our driver's perspective. And Ozone, how tricky of a track is COTA as we head into today's race?
At least there's someone out there that uses the words COTA when describing the Circuit of the Americas, which is a good thing. And this track, it's very, very familiar to some old circuits. The last sector especially reminds me of that famous Turn 8 at Turkey. Turn 1 shows a little bit of Austria, the uphill climb going into Turn 1, as well as the S's at the end after Turn 1 reminds me of the Suzuka S's in Japan. So a lot of these drivers again, that part of the track was similar to this. So you never know. I remember one particular race I was doing around here. I remember practicing other tracks. I remember practicing Japan just to get the S's right. I was like, oh, there we are.
And you do bring up a lot of good points there about Turkey and Austria and Suzuka. I mean, the parts of the track was modeled after some of these other tracks, especially the S's. But Sector 2 seems to be more of the modern take. A lot of hard left and right-handers, 90-degree turns. I mean, how hard is it to set up the car for flowing turns like the S's and then these hard braking zones and sharp left and right-handers?
Well, you need a bit of downforce so your car can turn into the hairpins of the middle sector just to begin with, and you need a bit of downforce for the first and last sectors, but you also need a little bit of drag for the back straight, which could be crucial if people use a higher downforce setup. They could be like a sitting duck on the back straight, but it should be a good race.
And we are waiting for a couple of more drivers to join in with us. Got 15 drivers so far. We'll run down the driver lineup. We've got V. Rita, your championship points leader in the Racing Point. Arton Senna 1812, that is David Wallbank. He's going to be in the Ferrari. KCG coming off of an IRL F1 race that he just finished. It was a very wet race at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. So KCG doing double duty this weekend. Invictus is a new reserve driver joining us, making his HTA RL debut in the Mercedes. Ben Gallagher will be his teammate for today. Max Wilcox in the Toro Rosso. Try and Catch is going to be in the Haas. Epic the Animal in the factory Renault. Carbon Con going to be in the McLaren, and AB53 Mo is in the Haas. Chazmeister 44 is Charlie Sampson rocking the Red Bull, and his teammate is going to be Gad, also in the Red Bull. LR Harry is Harry Cooper in the Williams, and Harry Saunders is going to be back today in the Ferrari. And we've got Ozone Leaston and myself spectating so far. Sippy's going to step out. It looks like we're waiting on Fozzie Wazzie. And interestingly enough, I was informed the other day that Fozzie Wazzie is actually a girl. So female racing in an online league. It's actually the first time I've come across one. So good to have her with us as we wait for her to join. And recapping last week's race, round 5 at Australia, Rita walked away with another pole position. It was his second pole position of the season, and he walked away with his third win of the season. KCG finished second. It was his fourth podium finish in 5 rounds, so he's a championship contender trying to catch Rita. Epic the Animal has been having a really good and solid run so far this year. Through 5 rounds, he's got 2 podiums and hasn't finished any worse than 4th. He comes home 3rd. Harry Cooper had a good run to 4th last week. Ozone Nola, who made his HTA debut last week, finishes 5th. Khalifa was 6th. Try and Catch was 7th. SHR Ninja was 8th. Ben Gallagher was 9th. Carbon Con was 10th. 11th was Fozzie Wazzie. TC13 finished 12th. Q-Tip, the 2-time HTA RL Formula 1 champion, was 13th. And then 14th through 17th was all DNFs. That was Maxie Wilcox, Charlie Sampson, David Wallbank, and AB53 Mo. And Maxie Wilcox and AB53 Mo both have 3 DNFs in 5 rounds. So heading into today's race, they're going to be looking to just try and finish one. And weather not usually a factor here at the Circuit of the Americas. It doesn't rain a whole lot in Texas, but it has been a rain shower here and there in years past. Any predictions heading into today's race, Ozone, as we look at the driver lineup?
Well, firstly, you need to remember that this is the Circuit of the Americas, not mixing up with Canada. And predictions, it's going to be an interesting race. Harry Saunders could be in with a really good shout at this Grand Prix, as well as the people we've been seeing every week has been doing really good performances. Epic, Rita, as well as KCG. I don't know about Ben Gallagher. Seen him a couple of times. He could pop up and cause a little shock, but should be really interesting to see what happens in the midfield.
And you do bring up a good point about Ben Gallagher. He has shown flashes of speed, but he's had a little bit of bad luck and a little bit of aggressive driving, and he hasn't had the finishes to show that type of speed. Finished 7th at Hockenheim, finished 9th at Australia, but really has shown speed that's better than those finishes would indicate. So maybe he can get his act together moving into today's race. I'm looking at Rita, KCG, and Epic. They seem to be the big three in the driver lineup. Dan Thompson's not here, unfortunately. He's usually a dark horse, very fast driver. And we don't know what to expect from guys like Invictus making his debut. And Harry Cooper can be a little bit of a spoiler as well. He's proven to be very quick in other leagues. And looks like we've got Sticky Bomb joining in. Not sure if Sticky is going to be racing or not.
Well, he's gone in the spectator mode.
That's interesting. Sticky's one of the league administrators. He races in multiple other leagues along with Sippy. Sippy does the same thing, so he's a league administrator as well. So Sippy will probably step out. Not sure what Sticky's end game is, but looks like we've got 15 drivers. Going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race. And as I said, some of these drivers doing double duty this weekend. KCG just came off of the IRL F1 race at Canada. Maxie Wilcox will be racing in F2 for IRL tomorrow at Canada, along with Chaz Meister, who I believe is an F3 driver for IRL. So some of these guys are going to be racing today and tomorrow, with the exception of KCG. He's fast enough to race in F1, so he raced already today.
Yeah, he's one of those quick people. One of those people that goes on the game about 20 hours a day. But no, he is a very quick driver. I wish I could find some form within myself to just find some luck, or just find some pace just to come back to this game. But unfortunately, it's not. But with the news of F1 2020 coming out, while most probably the world is still involved with muddled with a pandemic, I think I might have to give F1 2020 a blast, and
Yes.
let's see what that holds.
So we've got Fun Oreo joining us on the live chat. That's Anthony Johnson. He a very quick driver, but he's stepped out of the car. He has not raced in some months. He tried heading up his own league, the Garage Racing League, which had minimal success. He also raced with Ministries of Speed Simulations for quite a few years before they folded. Hasn't gotten back into a car yet, but I still keep trying to coax him to get into one. So, Anthony, whenever you're ready, you let me know. We'll get you back in a car. So it looks like we're finally going to kick off this 18-minute short qualifying session.
It's the lowest driver grid we've had all season, I think.
You would be correct. This is the smallest car count, so that's actually semi-good news. The average car count's been about 17. One time this year we've had a full grid of 20, but looking at the news and notes, I mean, round one we had 19 cars, Monza was 16, Spa was 16, and then we had 20 at Hockenheim, and then we had 17 cars last week, so 15 car grid.
It was inevitable, little drop, especially everyone talking about the new game, thinking, oh, when's that coming out? And we'll have to wait until July for that. But now we've still got a season to carry on with. Hopefully a very good race here at COTA.
Well, and I think like most games, especially with the F1 games, I mean, just because it comes out in August or July or whatever the case may be, I mean, it's usually a couple months before they get all the bugs worked out. And it looks like they put a lot of emphasis into the online career mode this time. You can create your own team and manage it. They also brought back split screen, which is kind of odd to me since everybody's stuck in their homes right now. Can't necessarily go to a friend's house and play. So, but a 14 car grid, so we are down to 14 cars. It is the smallest grid we've had all season, but nonetheless, small on car counts, or low on car counts, does not mean low on action, so we'll see how this pans out on the track.
As you're saying about the split screen, it's not all bad if you can't go and see any of your mates. You can just join a league with them and do league racing for a bit. You'll be fine. Don't care how bad you are. I've suffered multiple crashes. I still enjoy it, so didn't you? But qualifying is underway. I got sidetracked by people mentioning the split screen. Two drivers coming out on their outlap as that someone's spinning it. The one, it's a Ferrari of F Senna who's just gone for a spin in the exit turn one. Not the nicest way to start your qualifying session.
So David Wallbank already having issues in the Ferrari. Looks like Harry Saunders was the first one out on the soft tires. And Saunders, he did show a flash of speed back in round 4 where he qualified on pole in his debut. Unfortunately, finished 14th that race. Got caught up in a few melees on track and haven't really seen him since, but he's back today.
Spun on the safety car as well. I haven't, I promise I haven't mentioned that to him. Not like I mentioned it to him every day, but was in a practice lobby with Harry and Max, in fact, just getting a couple of laps in for them and for myself, just to see how slow I was compared to them. But let's just say they were doing all right on the hard compound tyre. I didn't see what happened when they moved on to the quicker compounds. Didn't really see how they will fare. It's a yellow flag in sector 3, but that could be just slow cars as Harry starts his lap. Actually, there's a car coming out of the pits there. He needs to be wary of that as he goes into turn 1. There's a Haas and a McLaren. There's another Mercedes there. He's just come out on an out lap, so it's going to be a little bit of traffic. Could be in the way of Ferrari.
Oh, and he's going to run right up on the back of him and almost rear ends him. So that is going to ruin that hot lap for sure. And you did speak as he was practicing on hard tires. What would be an optimum strategy here at COTA?
I think the softs to mediums, if I remember correctly, those can work. But if we can get involved in the little incidences, and maybe a safety car comes out a few laps into the Grand Prix, like we've seen a lot this season, you could easily just switch on to the hards and get a few laps in the pit near the end for softs. But if you want to start in the hards, you could get a good chunk into the Grand Prix, then pit the softs, and then obviously the way around, you start on the softs, you could pit for hards. But a little bit disappointed with Harry there. I know Invictus going his way, which is not the start you want as a reserve driver coming in. It's not the great as a start. Meanwhile, there's a car spinning off at the exit, well, just at the start of sector 3 there.
We just picked up David Wallbank. I was going to pick up him. It looked like he was on a hot lap, and he is pulled off to the side as well, so he's letting a lot of cars go by. He was on a timed lap. So we'll try and pick up Maxie Wilcox in the Toro Rosso, and he's going around Wallbank now. Looks like he's on a timed lap. He's purple in Sector 2. But there hasn't really been a time set yet, so...
I think he'd be the first driver to come across the line, unless I've missed some...
Oh, and it looks like there was a car off to the side there. Not sure who that was.
That was LR Harry, as Max goes on personal pole with 1 minute 33 point flat. A good lap time round here is the 32. If you really want to be quick, then push yourselves into the 31s. As Ben Gallagher sets a 32.6, and then there's AB53 Mo set a 43.1, a little bit off the time of that for the Haas driver.
So AB53 Mo, definitely a little quicker than that. He probably ran into some traffic. Surprisingly that there's such a big track like this and guys are running into a lot of traffic, but you take a look at the S's here and it's very much a one groove track as far as most of the corners are concerned. I mean, some of them being so tight and obviously the 90-degree turns don't make it easy. Really the only passing zones are going to be at the end of at the end of the front straightaway going into turn 1 and then obviously at the end of the backstretch. Other than that, the track seems like it's very much a one-lane track. And we're going to pick up championship points leader V. Rita. He's out on a timed lap as we speak. He's on the soft tires. See if he can put himself on provisional pole and eclipse that 132.6 set by Ben Gallagher as we see a yellow flag fly in Sector 3.
Yeah, if you think about it, it doesn't look like as many overtaking spots as Capricorn and the McLaren set for 34.2. But you don't think there's much overtaking spots on this track. But funnily enough, there are quite a few just dotted around. If you can capitalise on a driver error, especially from the driver in front, you can get a couple of sneaky overtakes done. There's a championship leader sets a 31.6 to go on provisional pole.
Oh, wow. A second quicker than Ben Gallagher in the Mercedes. So V. Rita comes out swinging with a 131.629. And we're going to pick up KCG championship contender, and he's in the Alfa Romeo. He's on the hard tires. He's actually the only driver on track on the hard tires, so we'll see what he's going to do here on his out lap. And you say this is very much a scenario where you put in, as you call, a banker lap, just to put a time on the board.
Yeah, just to chuck the little banker in. He's not even using DRS, so this is definitely a banker lap. I don't think this is going to be the lap that sets the world alight.
KCG more or less doing an installation lap at this point. Then we'll pick up Carbon Con. We'll see what he's doing here. He's gone 1:34.203, but I think he's very much off the pace on this one. He's probably going to be coming back around, dive into the pits. And there he goes. Wallbank has set a time of a 1:32.998. That's good enough for third quickest so far. He's very slow. He's invalidated this lap time. He's got the DRS slot open for some reason, but he's going very slow. I wonder if he's having some issues with the DRS.
Like what happened to Max last week after going back to join them to have a quick word to ask what happened. And, well, I got a very kind response off Max last week about his own DRS failure, which he suffered in Australia, which caused to his crash.
So we're going to pick up Invictus. He's making his first timed lap, but he's already invalidated it, so that's going to be no good. We'll pick up Harry Saunders. And I'm surprised that we're 8 minutes gone in this section, only 10 remain, and only a handful of the drivers, not even half the drivers, have set a time yet.
Well, it's very easy to invalidate as KCG sets a 34.3 on those hard tyres. Very easy to invalidate, especially the sector that Harry's going through, as the other Harry is in LR Harry's retired from the session on the back straight, which is a very interesting one.
So Harry Cooper has crashed in qualifying. It's not the first time he's done that this year. Oh, and Harry Saunders to the top of the charts, 1:31.495.
Lap times are tumbling.
Great qualifying effort by Saunders.
Let's see what others can do. As Invictus is rebooted, recharged and go again, but the ZRS is on 80%, so I'm not expecting a particularly quick lap. Let's not be offensive, but if ZRS is on about 5% for the majority of the lap, then you're not going to get anywhere quick. I know the 2 hairpins does give him a little bit of time to save the RS.
Yeah, and you can see the lights shining up on the rear of the car, so he's definitely doing some harvesting going around this track here this time by. But he's probably, like, as you said, not going to set the world on fire with this lap. We'll pick up Try and Catch. We haven't seen anything from him today. He's out on the medium tires. He's yet to set a time, and it looks like he's off to the side. It looks like he's going to let one of the Red Bulls go by. That's going to be Gad. Gad currently on an out lap.
fucking sticky bomb is in game chat for some mysterious reason. Don't know what's going on between the admins this evening as Victor's in fact runs wide but gets away with it. The exit of the corner. Runs a little bit wide the final corner, but he sets a 1:33.9, which puts him 6. But we're still waiting for a few more drivers to set a lap, try and catch an invalid. Epic and Chasmeister in the pits, and Gad is on an out lap.
Surprisingly, Epic, I think Epic pulled this strategy last week. Epic stayed in the pits rather late and made a couple of hard charges towards the end of the qualifying session. Put himself well up in the running order and ran up front most of the day. Obviously came home with another podium last race, so he definitely proved to have some speed. He's been very consistent this year, but I think he's going to be sitting in the pits until the last few minutes of this qualifying session as we continue to watch Gad as he heads downhill into the S's. Very tricky S's.
Be careful, not use too much curb, especially for the S's. Tip for all drivers. Don't take too much curb, you either lose it or invalid. It's getting enough curb through there, but it's not most of the back end won't help. As he goes into the first of the two hairpin type corners. As he looks for a good exit to go down the back straight. I had a lot of understeer in my practice lap. I had one of the best exits from a corner I'll ever have. It's quite phenomenal what occurred to me earlier, but it's going to slowly wrap up the middle sector by breaking into can't remember the corner count.
And he is purple in sector 2, so Gad's on a good lap.
I don't know about that one, if I'm being honest. Just checking the race director. He's a fair bit off the fastest middle sector, so the game is lying to us as it does every week.
So and, purple can often be confused for personal best. So he's coming around now. He's going to finish this lap off. He's going to do 1:32.902. That's not a hateful time. Puts him up into 4th.
Yeah, it's not the worst lap in the world. It's quite a good lap from the Red Bull driver. We haven't seen much in the top end of the races. As that's Capricorn, who's just jumped in for P4 with 2.7. Meanwhile, KCG's out again on a second different tyre. He's on the mediums now. Let's see what he can do and try and catch as well. He hasn't set a lap time yet in this qualifying session on the softs.
So here is KCG, and we're going to ride along with him on the TV pod as he heads up the hill into turn 1. A daunting climb and hard on the brakes. And then back downhill and then through the sweeping S's, and we'll see what kind of... the S's really seem like a spot on this track where you can either gain or lose a lot of time.
Yeah, as Max has just lost he's done a mistake which has cost his lap time there. Going through the S's near the end of the complex as he let KCG fly past. And it's just Harry Saunders there in front of him as well, so that Harry does peel off the exit of the hairpin. See what KCG can do.
He's obviously going to be up on his previous time, but I wonder how far up the running order it's going to put him. Smooth throttle transition through some of these corners, and you can just see how fast and slow some of these corners are. Wow, Rita just went 1:31.1, 0.3 of a second quicker than Harry Saunders, and that is putting a real stamp on this qualifying session.
Yeah, that's the time to beat, and it's quite unfortunate actually, because we're on board with someone, and someone just comes out with a flying lap as KCG.
Wow, and he's going to abort that lap and dive into the pits. So props to V Rita, 1:31.1, and I think that's going to be the time to beat for sure. Less than 4 minutes left to play in this session. Saunders is on an out lap. He's coming across now to start a fast lap. So we'll see if Saunders has anything for V Rita. Let's see if he can find someplace to pick up 0.3 of a second.
Flies into
very, very quick through the S's. And caught that sausage curb there. He's got to be careful with them sausage curbs.
You can do in the middle sector. 2.5 tenths is not enough. Paul, he needs to find about maybe a tenth and a half more. He wants to be on the first place position.
And a 131.1. Really, the only place to go is into the 130s. Does anybody have enough oomph in their car to make that happen?
And he's 3.5 tenths up in the middle sector.
Oh, a little bit of snap oversteer. That might ruin that lap. And it's invalidated the time, and now Harry Saunders has retired from the session. So he was giving it a good go. Lost the back end, and he's going to call it a day. So he's going to be locked in at a 131.495. He peels off. We'll pick up Maxie Wilcox in the Toro Rosso. Looks like he's on a fast lap heading through the last portion of this course here. To the penultimate corner, and now into the last corner.
He was behind Harry for the majority of the laps. He comes across the line set a 32.5.
132.563 is nothing to shake a stick at. That's good enough for fourth quickest, and that drops Gad and Carboncom 5th and 6th.
But the only reason I can see Harry has retired there, if you think he hasn't got enough to call, I think he's quite low on fuel. The red alarming bells of the fuel was going off as he was in the last sector before he lost his car. But he's about a second faster than Gallagher, who's on an outlap now in the Mercedes. So it's interesting to see what Ben can do. As Dan has joined.
Dan Thompson has just joined.
With a minute and a quarter left in qualifying. So he's obviously going to be starting at the back if he can get into a spectator mode in time. So it should be very interesting to see what he can do from P15.
Well, we are currently watching KCG.
Majority of the grids are on the laps. Max was on a flying lap, but he's done a mistake and done something.
Trying to keep tabs on KCG and Epic the Animal. Those are going to be the two to watch. They're going to be the fastest drivers who probably have the best chance, besides Harry Saunders, of snatching that pole position. And here goes KCG's on the soft tires. He has not, well, he set a time back on the hards at a 134.4 or 134.3. So this is really going to be a last-ditch effort to try and snatch that pole position.
No, he set that 34.3 on the mediums, I believe, if I'm correct. But unfortunately for Chaz Meister, I don't think he's got enough time to get around the track. He won't set a lap in qualifying. I think his car comes up from there in a second. That's the end of his qualifying.
And qualifying is up, and V Rita is locked in at the 131.1. So that is going to be your time to beat. And it looks like KCG is struggling a little bit through the S's and into that Sector 2 section as he heads down into the backstretch now. He's having a hard time picking up the throttle.
That could be crucial if you go and pull and you haven't got a chance to that final lap. I know it's a very impressive lap by Racing Point. It might get hit. And it can happen in these qualifying sessions.
Yellow flag in Sector 2.
That's
personal best for KCG in Sector 2. He's 1.7 seconds up on his best time, so he's cooking. But that's not going to be fast enough.
Try and catch sets a 32.1 to go P3. I witnessed the last sector of that. That's very impressive from the fast driver.
Now here comes KCG across the line, and it is good enough for second. 131.477. We're going to pick up Epic the Animal. The last driver still running that is yet to set a time, and he's going to come across. He's very wide coming out of the last corner, and he comes across. Oh, and he's only good enough for 10th quickest, 1:33.196. Not what I expected out of one of the big guns.
I think there's a 6/10 gap between the two compounds, but and Saturn at 18.12, you jinxed him in Australia. He's put another really good qualifying lap there to put himself P4 with a 32 flat.
Yeah, Arton Senna 1812, that was David Wallbank, and yeah, he did get a little bit of the commentator's curse last time out. We were talking about how well he ran at Hockenheim, where he came home with a podium finish, and as soon as we complimented on he was having such a good run, he crashed out and unfortunately was classified in 16th with his first DNF of the year. So it looks like qualifying is up as AB53 Mo heads into the pits to lock this down.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, especially with both Red Bulls last week coming into contact with each other. I believe it was it Ella Harry that depped in for Chasmeister last week, and they both came in together. But that was last week. Let's move on to this week.
And V. Rita with another pole position. That is his third pole position of the season. So here's your starting positions. V. Rita starting in first, followed by championship points contender. Right behind him, Casey G. Harry Saunders is in third. David Wallbank is fourth. Try and catch is fifth. Ben Gallagher sixth. Maxie Wilcox is seventh. Carbon Con eighth. Gad is ninth. 10th is Epic the Animal. He's got his work cut out for him. Invictus is in 11th. AB53 Mo is 12th. And then 13, 14, Chasmeister and Harry Cooper set no times. And I think the one thing we need to watch out for here is this guy right here, Epic the Animal. The only guy to start on the medium tires. He's going to run an alternate strategy. So I wonder if that'll come into play later in the going of this race. And of course, that's also going to depend on no safety cars.
Yeah, it could, but as well as that man that joined a minute to go in qualifying, Dan, he could easily get involved.
So Dan Thompson will be starting at the end of the grid. And obviously we know Dan Thompson is very quick. He's got 1 win, 2 podiums to his credit so far this year. Only in 6 rounds. So I got to say, a lot of different winners going into these, going into the 6th round. The grid has been kind of mixed up. But I mean, obviously V. Rita, Casey G, and Epic the Animal really the standout amongst the three for their consistency and constantly getting the podiums and putting the points on the board. Dan Thompson can definitely be a dark horse in this. So we'll get set to do the formation lap here. V. Rita is your pole sitter. Third time he's going to be starting from pole. He's going to be looking to try and walk away with another win. And Casey G, who's doing double duty this weekend, just coming off of an IRL F1 race. He's now racing in HTA here today. He's coming off of another podium finish last week. He's going to try and do it again, see if he can close that points gap, if he can get in front of Rita and close that championship points gap. Harry Saunders showing flashes of speed again, starting in third, followed by his teammate David Wallbank. So good start for Team Ferrari. See if they can put some points on the board as a team effort. PMP Try and Catch going to be starting in fifth. He had a little bit of a rough go of it last time out. See what he can do today.
As Max is in P7, I think he's and Dan. They've both thinking it's the start of a Grand Prix. They calm down you lot. It's only the formation lap. As Try and Catch, in fact, loses the back end. This is entertainment on the formation lap. I do apologise for interrupting your grid countdown, but it was just wonderful to see.
And Ben Gallagher is in the Mercedes starting in sixth, and he is followed by the Maxie Wilcox, who is off to the races already. I don't believe he understands that this is a formation lap. Carbon Con's going to be...
And they've both just been disqualified for tapping into each other.
So they'll start back at the grid. Carbon Con's going to be starting in 8th, and the McLaren been pretty consistent so far this year. Mid-pack driver, trying to put some points on the board as well, along with Gad, who's also a good mid-pack driver. See if he can put some points on the board for Red Bull. And Epic the Animal, this is the guy I really want to watch here, starting in 10th in the factory Renault. He's the only driver to be starting on the medium tires. He hasn't finished any lower than 4th all season. So consistency is key. And Invictus in the other Mercedes making his HTA RL debut. Going to be starting in the 11th spot. AB53 Mo had a little bit of an up and down season and going to try and put some points on the board along with Charlie Sampson. And then Harry Cooper, very fast driver, starting in the back in the Williams. And then there's Dan Thompson, who should be on the grid, I believe, starting in 15th spot.
Yes, he is. I think someone's glitched out with his camera there. But He is on the grid. As we wait for the lights.
They sit on board with David Wallbank in the Ferrari. 5 red lights. The lights are out. Time to run what you brung. They're going and away in a puff of smoke. And a good start by David Wallbank. He's already gained 1 position. And a good jump by KCG to get in front of V. Rita. And KCG is out in front and leading this race. But Rita's all over his gearbox. So they head downhill and into the S's. And you've got to go single file. And there's contact there in the back. It looks like that's one of the Renaults that was trying catch, maybe?
No, it was Gad in the Red Bull, and Dan spun on the exit of that little corner there.
Yellow flag.
Because he went from 15th to 10th in one corner, which was impressive. Harry Saunders didn't have the best of starts, starting third, dropping the 5th. Max as well didn't have a good start, but he's overtaking Gabriel to slowly get back into P8. I was going to say Dan would be the best start.
Oh, and they're side by side, try and catch, and Harry Saunders, they head down towards the next corner. Who's going to outbreak who? Try and catch is going to get in there, pushes him wide. Saunders is coming back, and now Saunders has got he's got the more preferred line heading into the next corner. Now he's going to push, try and catch wide, and these two are battling real hard on this opening lap. They're rubbing wheels and rubbing shoulders.
And I think try and catch could get the move done, and he has. Yeah.
Oh, and that's Gad behind them running very wide coming out of that corner.
And Harry's going to have a look down the inside in the last corner. He's caught, try and catch, nap in. And he's in the lead. No, he's not in the lead. So to P5 as the leader, KCG, comes across the line. But try and catch, he's having a look at him again.
Oh, these two are going back and forth really hard with each other. And look at this, a great move by try and catch.
And he's got them.
You can't go side by side. It's not going to work. Oh, and he hits him.
Harry yields.
A little bit of contact from the right rear to the left front. And Carbon picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Let's see, can Harry fight back?
And Saunders loses the back end of the Ferrari. Cuts back across the track.
Gad was well away from it. He wasn't going to lose any damage to that. This could be a really big opportunity for the Red Bull to get up into a P6. But Max is lurking behind the Red Bull. This could be a 3-wide moment if these people can play it well. I think Max might be going up the middle.
Oh, and Gad outbreaks himself. Saunders hangs on to the position. Here comes Maxie Wilcox. Oh, and he makes contact with the Red Bull. And now him and Gad are pushing each other side by side. Meanwhile, Ben Gallagher's making a move on David Wallbank to take the 3rd spot. And Ben Gallagher's moved up into the podium spot. Wallbank to the outside.
Very nice move from Ben Gallagher from what I saw. So try and catch is pulled away from Harry, and that is Capricorn has just ran wide as DRS is now enabled. I think that must be one of the first times this season lap 3 and the DRS is enabled sign has popped up.
And we hop on board with V. Rita. He is all over the gearbox of KCG as they head downhill. And these two have separated themselves from Ben Gallagher. Gallagher's running in 3rd, 2.5 seconds behind that lead battle. And he's got David Wallbank all over him. And try and catch is right behind them.
You know, Capricorn just went for a move on Gad, who's just peaked with 3-second time penalty. Gad thought about coming back at him for the S's, but gave up and then paid the penalty. So Max is all over behind of Harry, is trying to catch his round wide. Harry dares goes down his inside, and Max will fall asleep surely now.
Oh, and hard on the brakes, he gives him a little bit of a nudge, and now trying catches on the outside, trying to get the power down coming out of the corner. And now it's a drag race down the backstretch, so they're both going to have the DRS slot open. They're still rubbing wheels with each other. Look at Wilcox cut in front, and he goes all the way down to the arm cone to make this move. And he's trying to get the 2-for-1 deal, and try and catch goes to the outside. They bump wheels, and now Harry Saunders is going to retake the spot, and he's back in 5th.
Yeah, they both ran a little bit wide at the hairpin. And then Harry just does the simple to switch back, thank you very much, and returns himself to P5. Meanwhile, up in front, we've missed the overtake from the lead of the Grand Prix after what on earth's happening in the midfield as the racing point is overtaking KCG, but it's only the gap's about 4.5 tenths as they start lap 4. This could be one of the scraps of the day. If these two can keep it together, will one of them pull away? Or would it be a fascinating scrap for the entirety of the Grand Prix? He's trying to catch his drop down the field position here. He's down to P9. I don't know if there's a mistake, but yeah, it's interesting to see.
It's basically a 4-car battle back there for that 7th position. You've got
Max picks up a
Gad, Carbon Khan, Try and Catch, and Charlie Sampson, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, all running nose to tail from each other. Now, Maxie Wilcox has been able to get away from that battle, and he's closing in on Harry Saunders for that 5th spot still.
Meanwhile, Loreno's down in 13th to 14th. They're having a wonderful little battle as Dan looks to go down the inside of his teammate, and he looks to go down the inside of Invictus as well. A little bit of damage, I believe, that might be on Loreno. I think one of them just didn't expect it. I don't know if Dan is fully committed.
And here comes Epic to the inside. Epic's going to have the more preferred line heading into that corner, but he's on the medium tires, and he's not going to be able to outbrake Dan Thompson. And Epic struggling a little bit here in the early going. He's starting in the 10th spot. He's down to 13th.
So Dan is behind Try and Catch.
And now we've got a battle here at Ferrari. This is Ayrton Senna, 1812. That's David Wallbank, being followed by Harry Saunders. And I'm pretty sure that there's no team orders between these two drivers.
Yeah, they'll be racing for the entirety of the Grand Prix. Try and Catch gets the 5-second time penalty before the cut, and then Dan overtakes him in P11. In fact, both runners, in fact, again passed on the Haas. Let's see what happens. The battle of the Ferraris for P4 in this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Ben Gallagher's suiting himself quite nicely in third. He's 4 seconds behind the top two, but he's 2 seconds in front of these two Ferraris. Looks like Harry just can't catch up to him and get the move done. Also, if they scrap too hard,
and the mid-pack battle continues to rage on as we pick up 7th, 8th, and 9th. This is Gad in the Red Bull, followed by Carbon Khan in the McLaren, and then Harry Cooper in the Williams. And Harry's going to have the DRS slot open as he tries to get in front of Carbon Khan. And Harry Saunders and David Wallbank swap positions. Here comes Maxie Wilcox to the inside, trying to sneak one in there on these two.
Max tried to get involved. Tried to capitalise.
And we've got a 3-wide battle going on behind them for the 7th spot. Harry Cooper manages to get the 2-for-1 deal, and Harry Cooper's up into 8th. And look at this, he's going to get around Carbon Khan. And Gad has retired from the race.
He spun after getting involved in that little scrap with Carbon Khan, and I think he's just had enough. There was no visual damage onto his car. He's had enough, he didn't want to get involved, and he's just retired it. And,
so Gad is going to call it a day. And look at the mess of cars we've got back here. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. All within a second of each other. And it looks like Maxie's made the move on David Wallbank.
Right, I don't think the Ferrari will be done yet, pushing him through the S section, which isn't the most healthiest. Which isn't the healthiest thing in the world to do. Max looks like to be pulling away. Chasmeister in the Red Bull picks up the 3-second time penalty. Penalties could come into effect massively in this Grand Prix, especially in the midfield.
Yeah, you see how close the times are on the midfield. 7th through 11th are all racing each other at this point. And good on Dan Thompson. He has managed to work his way into 9th after starting in the 15th spot and having that spin on the opening lap. Epic the Animal still struggling. He's back in 11th. Hasn't been able to get back into the points. And Rita has pulled out to a second gap over KCG.
Epic was round the outside. He's ran a little bit wide. That might not win in the position. And he's lost a lot of time to let go of that.
He tried making that move on Charlie Sampson. Wasn't able to make it work.
Well, the race has calmed down a bit suddenly.
Yeah, it seems to have settled a bit.
KCG dives into the pits at the end of lap 6 going on to the lap 7. The Alfa
So
Romeo's
KCG is the first one to pit with the soft tires. He looks like he's going to shoot for the undercut and see if he can get back out in front of Rita and Ben Gallagher.
As well as that in 1812 in the Ferrari. See what he can do. He moves onto a set of mediums. No, he's on a set of cards. It's the Ferrari. And KCG comes out on a set of mediums. I think that definitely require a 2-stop for KCG. But can Senna not pick up anything? Can he last those tires to the end of the Grand Prix as Dan picks up a penalty?
And we just saw a huge moment on the live stream from Ben Gallagher. Drifting coming out of a corner as he lost the back end of the car. He was able to save it, but he is struggling with rear tire grip now. And this is really the window to open for these soft tires. Laps 7 to 9, somewhere in that area is where you're going to want to pit. Obviously, KCG was the first one to do it, so he's going to shoot for that undercut. But really, V. Rita now is out into a commanding lead, 6.6 seconds. Obviously hasn't pitted yet. We see a lot of these guys now. Harry Saunders has worked his way up into 3rd. Maxie Wilcox is in 4th. Harry Cooper is in 5th. Carbon Con, who we actually have somebody cheering for on the live stream, on the live chat, Carbon Con is up into 6th. But again, these guys have not pitted yet. The first driver that made a pit stop, and Ben Gallagher's in. Gallagher is in, so the guy we want to watch is going to be KCG. He was the first one to make a pit stop and switch over to the mediums. And Gallagher's dropping to the field. He's made his stop. He's back out. Looks like he's on a set of mediums. KCG is going to be able to undercut at least Ben Gallagher for the time being. The driver he really wants to undercut is V. Rita, who is leading this race to the tune of 8.3 seconds. How long does V. Rita go on these soft tires? Meanwhile, Epic has worked his way. Uh-oh, we got a car around. That's Dan Thompson, I believe. Oh, and Dan Thompson. Oh, and AB53 Mo is retired from the race, and I wonder if there was contact between him. And where is AB53 Mo's car? I wonder if there was contact between Thompson and Mo. And now we've got ourselves a virtual safety car, and Epic the Animal, who we were trying to talk about when this all happened, worked his way into 5th. And Dan Thompson has left the session. So Dan Thompson, another rage quit. And he's going to call it a day. So we started with 15 drivers. We've now got... Oh, it looked like... Is that somebody trying to take out Epic? So still under the virtual safety car, and Rita is going to make a pit stop. This is now the time to do it. He's got the virtual safety car to help protect that lead. This is not good news for KCG. This is not how he wanted this to work out. He's only managed to get up into 8th. And we're back to green flag racing. Now Harry Saunders is going to take the lead from V. Rita. Rita is going to drop all the way down to... Oh, it's going to be close between him and V. Rita and KCG are with each other 6th and 7th spot. So KCG, the undercut would have worked had it not been for the virtual safety car that was brought up by Dan Thompson and AB53 Mo, but KCG is all over the gearbox of V. Rita. That is essentially the battle for this race, the lead of this race.
So I've missed a lot after answering a family call. Looks like Dan and AB53 Mo are both there.
AB53 Mo, I believe, had a crash. I'm not sure if Dan Thompson was involved in it. Thompson's car did go around, and it looks like he subsequently rage quit.
There's an opportunity for KCG, but Rita might have a look at Chad Meister in front of him, and it looks like he's going to get the move done. And KCG's trying to follow suit.
Oh, he gets in there just at the last second.
True.
That is some good driving by Charlie Sampson. I think Sampson had the eyes and the ears to see that KCG was making that move late. He started to turn in, and then he cut back out, so... Good on Sampson to not cause a collision there. KCG with a dive bomb there, making that work for him to pick up the 6th spot as he's trying to stick with V Rita. Now Rita is coming up on Carbon Con, who's yet to pit, and Carbon Con's going to dive into the pits. Epic the Animal has now worked his way into 3rd, so his medium tire strategy is finally starting to pay off. But how long is he going to be able to go on those mediums? And Harry Saunders leading the way, 9 laps on those soft tires. They're going to be definitely starting to give way as far as the grip is concerned here in a couple more laps.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how the strategy pays off as the majority of the field are coming into the pits. Yeah, Harry Saunders keeping the tyres, keeping those red striped tyres on the red car. Well, held them up for 9 laps. He's got the other Harry in the Williams behind him.
That is Harry Cooper. Where is he? And a 3-second time penalty for Invictus, running down to the 12th spot.
Meanwhile, Rita gets the move done on Epic, but Epic will have a look back. He started on those medium tyres. It's a very good move, a smart move by the Racing Point. Gets himself.
And coincidentally, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, those are the big 3 that we keep talking about. Those are the top 3 in the championship point standings. V Rita is your championship points leader. KCG currently 2nd in points. Epic the Animal 3rd in points. So these guys battling amongst each other, not just for positions in this race, but for the championship lead. And V Rita just ran the fastest lap of this race. And Harry Cooper making a move on Harry Saunders, trying to get to the inside. And I can't get a good camera angle because of Codemasters, but Harry Cooper makes the move, and Saunders loses out.
I think the Ferrari's tyres are gone. I don't think there's much more life in them.
And KCG just got around Epic the Animal to pick up the 4th spot, so KCG still trying to stick with V Rita and Epic the Animal on that alternate tire strategy on those mediums. We'll see how far he can go.
Max picks up another 3-second time penalty. See the track limit to the S's again. Meanwhile, Williams has pulled 1.5 seconds on the Ferrari.
Yeah, but the Ferrari is losing a lot of ground really quick to V Rita on those worn softs. Rita is coming with a head of steam, and he is bringing KCG and Epic the Animal with him.
So it should be interesting to see, can Harry hold out? I think you're definitely going into the pits at the end of this lap. Those tyres are gone. Come in, get a new pair of tyres on, and see what happens from there. As the Racing Point is all on the back of it.
And we're riding along with Rita, and you can see just how wide Saunders has to take that corner, struggling with lateral grip. And it looks like he is finally going to dive into the pits. So Saunders, after running 10 laps on soft tires, finally gives up and goes into the pits for a new set. But now KCG trying to figure out if we can get by Rita or not for that 2nd spot.
Should be interesting to see how long Harry can last on those mediums. If he's lasted 11 laps on those medium tyres, see how long he can on those soft tyres. My apologies. See how long he can last on the mediums, as well as his teammate using P8 on those hards. So 5 lap old. See how long he can last on them. Meanwhile, we're still for 3 drivers at the pit. There's in fact Sender did give the 3-second time count for the captain. There's 3 drivers at the pit. Epic, Chazmeister and Harry, who's leading the Grand Prix by 1.8 seconds.
So Harry and Epic and Charlie Sampson, I mean, obviously they're the ones to watch. They started on the medium tires, especially Epic and Harry Cooper, because they're both very quick drivers. I think Charlie Sampson, currently running in 5th spot, he's trying to use that alternate strategy just to put some points on the board. He knows he's not the quickest driver on track, but sometimes strategy can pay off. And surprisingly, no full course cautions yet in this race, as we've seen in many races. In fact, we had 4 safety cars at Australia, which is a season high, heading into today's round. None so far. We've only had the one virtual safety car because of the incident between AB53 Mo and Dan Thompson. And we see Saunders and Carbon Con going side by side. This is the battle for 9th. Oh, and they're still side by side heading through that sweeping right-hander. Uh-oh, Epic has dived into the pits, so Charlie Sampson moves up into 4th. Where's this going to put Epic? And Epic is going to switch over to hard tires.
Those will definitely make it until the end of the Grand Prix.
David Wallbank is going to move up into 6th.
Easily joining in the middle of these two.
Meanwhile, and a 3-second time penalty for Harry Cooper. For Casey G. As Harry Cooper is now under threat from V Rita and Casey G.
Might have ran on those tyres a little bit too long for the Williams. A little bit disappointing for Epic for that. Right behind the McLaren, as well as Harry.
V Rita's easily going to be able to make that pass. Harry Cooper not willing to give up too easily on that. But now he's going to fall victim to Casey G, I'm sure.
Well, actually, Peels into the pits on this current lap, which I think he should do. Might have run out of steam on those tyres. Tyre wear is kind of a little bit of effect as Epic re-overtakes Carbon actually. He was behind him, but go back in front on those fresher hard tyres. In fact, he's staying out. Just moving an interesting one. Makes a little bit of sense to keep the old tyres on for maybe push them until a bit longer, and then pit for the fresher tyres. So the tyre would be even better near the end of the Grand Prix and sacrifice a little bit in the middle. But in fact, Harry Saunders picks up the 3-second time penalty for corner cut, and he's 6/10 behind his teammate. And he looks far closer than that.
Oh, and Casey G almost had a moment there. He cut that corner going through the S's pretty tight, went over the sausage curves, really unsettled the car. But he's trying desperately to get around Harry Cooper and the Williams. He knows he's losing time to V Rita, and not only that, but he's got that 3-second time penalty, so Casey G really wants to get around the Williams of Harry Cooper.
Meanwhile, Harry Saunders is overtaking his teammate for P7. Next victim for him would be Max, who apparently sets a purple millisecond.
And DRS slot open for Casey G. Casey G is going to be able to make that move on Harry Cooper finally. And now the question becomes, can he close that gap to V Rita, or is Rita just too quick around this track?
Is that inside the run wide with the exit to the S's? It should be an interesting one. Then on to the gravel. It should be interesting to see what happens to the top two. Will that penalty come in to cost KCG of a Grand Prix win?
And David Wallbank is trying to crash himself out of this race and call it a day. And he did that very unsuccessfully, so he's going to head back out on the track with no front wing whatsoever.
He did do a mistake in the S's.
He did have right front end plate damage, and it looked like he wanted to retire the car. And Harry Saunders just ran the fastest lap of this race. And I will say this, it is very, very much frowned upon in the league to deliberately crash the car if you want to retire. We prefer that you retire the car in the pits. And now Wallbank has officially retired as he crashes heading into pit road. So that brings out the virtual safety car, and that will probably get looked at after this race. So virtual safety car, and David Wallbank has officially left the session. We'll chalk that up to a rage quit and another DNF, unfortunately, for Wallbank. That will make 2 in a row and his second one of the season.
As we're back underway, so if we can get a little jump on someone. There's only 11 finishes yet, and there's still quite a few laps to go this Grand Prix. But remember, with leagues, and Try and Catch is retired from the Grand Prix.
Oh no!
In the S's. So if everyone finishes now, they will be in the points.
So yellow flag at sector 1 and 2. That's right at the S's, and Surprisingly, no virtual safety car, no safety car still. Usually with incidences that close together, I usually call for one, but we'll take what we can get as the racing stays green, and now everybody is on the medium tires with the exception of Epic the Animal, who's going to run those hards all the way to the end. We see Charlie Sampson is finally coming into the pits after 15 laps on those medium tires.
Meanwhile, the other medium winner who hasn't pitted is just picking up a time penalty in the LR hiring. Still out on those what are they? Mediums, that's what they are, medium covering tyres.
Meanwhile, we do have a bit of a battle here materializing between Maxie Wilcox and Ben Gallagher for the 4th spot. These two have actually had a pretty good run going today. Definitely good day for Ben Gallagher. He's running in 3rd for quite a bit of this race. And Maxie actually worked his way through the field pretty well to get up into this position that he's in.
Meanwhile, Chaz Meister's gone to the soft. I don't know if that is the right call, in fairness to him.
No, he's not the only one, because Invictus is also on the soft tires. But you know what, though? At this point in the race, and you know there's only 10 cars left, I mean, if you're a back marker...
And he's got the move done, so he didn't drop, but Max with a very late...
Oh, and a big lockup by Gallagher as he tries to dive bomb into the next corner. Wilcox gets the power down. Oh, and look at this! To the inside, Gallagher still trying to make it work. He doesn't want to give it up.
But I think he'll have to yield. Very nice move. Nice battle between the pair. But Invictus is 6 laps older on those softs, so I'll be expecting him to come into the pits in the next few laps. But this is a very nice move from the Toro Rosso driver from P4. But he's 14 seconds behind Ella Harry, but the Williams is yet to pit, and he's still out on 16-lap-old mediums.
You know, if I was Harry Cooper, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I got a 14-second gap to Maxie Wilcox. I know the mediums are probably starting to give up, but what are the chances he runs those mediums into lap 20, 21, 22, and switches over to softs and tries to make up as much time as he can on track?
I think he could try and go into the softs from now if he's got good tyre wear. If he can think mediums can have 16 laps, can his softs last 10? It's 1.4 between the two leaders. Nothing going on. So Ben Gallagher slowly goes into Max. Will these two go again? Or will Ben be too far behind?
Gallagher's going to be too far back to make a move this time by, but he is sticking with Maxie Wilcox. So the battle for 4th is not yet over, and really this is going to turn into a battle for 3rd, because we know once Harry pits, Harry Cooper that is, he's going to have, Maxie's going to have the 3rd spot. So the pit stop delta here is about 18 seconds. It's a relatively short one considering some of the other tracks, but...
So he'd comfortably rejoin behind Harry Saunders, I believe. P6. We'll see what happens between these two. P4 on track. Effectively.
And Harry Cooper finally does pit, and he's going to switch over to the softs now. That's a long way to go on soft tires.
He thinks those tyres can go to the end of the race, and he'll be behind Harry Saunders, in fact. So Harry Saunders will be in front of his namesake.
And Saunders is not that terribly far off of this battle for the 3rd spot now. And Anthony Johnson says, wow, really, on the live stream. And I'm going to say that's probably in reference to David Wallbank's actions on track. And rest assured, Anthony, that is definitely frowned upon in this league. And David Wallbank has a history of being banned from leagues for such actions, and even worse things beyond that. So we'll see how things play out at the end of this race, but definitely frowned upon. It's actually frowned upon in all 3 leagues that I commentate for. Nobody seems to like the... And here goes Gallagher to the inside. And big lockup on that left front, and Wilcox is going to try and do the switchback and the crossover move. He's not going to be able to make it work. He's still on the outside. Gallagher's going to push him wide.
Which could turn to the inside, going into the next...
And now he's got the inside line, and here comes Gallagher, and a great move by Gallagher as he cuts back. And now he's going to try it again. They're side by side. They got the sweeping triple apex right-hander.
Yeah, you'll have to yield. I don't think there's not much hope of going through there side by side. Like I said at the start, it's reminiscent of the turn 8 at Turkey, but those, oh, they are.
And here we go. Look at this. Harry Saunders and Harry Cooper are catching these guys, and Cooper obviously on a fresh set of softs.
And it looks like he's going to go down his inside.
Going to be able to easily make that move. And now they're side by side as they head downhill, Wilcox and Gallagher. It's not going to work. What a move by Wilcox. Cuts across the nose of Ben Gallagher. Picks up a 3-second time penalty because of it, though. And that could cost him at the end of this race big time. And now here comes Harry Saunders and Harry Cooper. And this is now we've got ourselves a 4-car battle for the 3rd spot.
Yeah, this should be interesting to see how this pans out. Obviously, I know that Harry Saunders and Max have...
And this is bad news for Maxie Wilcox because he's got 3 cars behind him that all have DRS. Here comes Ben Gallagher to the inside. Actually, that's the outside. Harry Cooper's going to go to the inside. And that's 3 wide here for a hot second. Cooper all the way down. It's going to cut from... And another big lockup from Gallagher. Harry Cooper takes the position. Oh, no, and Cooper! Oh, was that... And Cooper's got end plate damage on the right front. He's going to be very upset about that. And now Harry Saunders to the inside of Wilcox.
Max will have a look, but he'll have to yield.
And Saunders cuts across the nose of Wilcox. Unbelievable racing. And Maxie ran very wide coming out of that corner. Oh, he's got end plate damage on the left front. And he is going to dive into the pits.
He'll rejoin about the end Chaz nice to be when he's just picked up a 5-second time penalty.
Oh, he's speeding into the pits, and here comes Cooper to the inside of Ben Gallagher. And Cooper picks up a 3-second time penalty for cutting that corner a little too tight. Now this is where Cooper's going to suffer. He's got that end plate damage. The front wing, his car is going to wash out and push going through these high-speed S's. And you can see him struggling. Here comes Gallagher and Harry Saunders all over the back of him. Oh no, and Saunders makes contact with Gallagher.
Tried to go for it, and this backfired for the Ferrari. Up at the animal, looking in P6 has caught up to him.
That was a very advantageous type move there by Harry Saunders trying to make that work. That wasn't necessarily a good spot to pass.
That's going to give the Williams a bit of breathing space now. Those two coming together. Give them a little bit of time to relax in this Grand Prix. Not long left. 7 laps to the end of this one. Meanwhile, up in front, the gap is 2.5 seconds. And KCG's got a penalty, so effectively that's a 5.5 second gap. And it looks like our championship leader, Viewed in the racing point. Unless something goes downhill, we'll be taking yet another win this week.
Unbelievable racing here at Circuit of the Americas.
And it's all calmed down a bit now. No win is within.
I think Ben Gallagher's trying to regroup himself here. And I really think Gallagher's going to be in the catbird seat. He's a second off of Harry Cooper now, 1.3 seconds. Cooper obviously has those soft tires. I don't think those softs are going to go 10 laps like he thought it would.
Harry Saunders did. He did 10 laps at the start of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, but I think he's going to give up too much time on track. But Gallagher does pick up a 3-second time penalty. So even if he does get around Harry Cooper, he would have to gap him by at least 3 seconds. So you said it earlier in this race that time penalties are going to be a factor. They've been a factor all year. I think Monza was the best case where the finishing order was completely shuffled by time penalties. Nobody finished in their respective spot in like the top 5 or 6 of that race.
Yeah, and then they made the decision to remove any penalty removals. That's how Riddick got his win at Monza, which we despise of both Mercedes.
And Anthony Johnson just brought up a good point on the live chat. With the front wing damage on Harry Cooper's car, that's going to put more stress on those tires. So there's a good chance that those tires are going to give up a lot sooner than Harry Cooper thought.
Well, it looks like he's pulling away from now. It will obviously help.
There's lap 3 right now. That's still the sweet spot for those tires. It's going to be interesting to see. Gallagher, obviously 13-lap-old mediums compared to 3-lap softs, but Anthony
Yeah,
Johnson does bring up a good point. That is going to put a little bit more stress, especially through the S's. Harry Cooper doing a good job running in the third spot with that damage. We'll see how it pans out for him.
One of those start of Ben's 14th lap on the medium, so that won't help one bit. So the tyre wear on the softs will degrade, but Ben's mediums is going to go as well. So this is a prime position for Harry Saunders, who's 5 seconds behind Ben, who's 7 seconds behind the Williams. See if he can catch up before his tyres go. Ben's losing even more time. The gap's 2 seconds now between third and fourth. There's a big 20-second gap between the top two and the Williams. The gap up in front stretching to 3.5 seconds. Surely this win is in the bag. But if I was KCG, would I pit? Would he pit for a set of softs? The 19-second buffer he's got to the Williams.
That would be an interesting strategy. He could theoretically pit and come back out. He would be just in front, if not side by side with Harry Cooper. It's a little bit of a risk, but he could run fastest lap, get the bonus point. Invictus picks up another 3-second time penalty. Hard to say. KCG.
So Ben Gallagher loses in even more time as they start lap 23. Like 2.6 seconds is the gap. As KCG picks up
and a 3-second time penalty. Well, at this point, you might as well go for broke and just try it.
And that's effectively a 9-second lead that Ridder in the Racing Point has got. He's driven very well today, and he's only picked up, I think, one warning. No, that's 2 warnings in 23 and a third laps.
V. Rita has been very consistent throughout the course of this year. It's still fairly early in this season. Actually, I shouldn't say that because this season's actually been cut. So, I mean, this is really, next week's going to mark the halfway point of this season. So, but through 6 rounds, I mean, Rita, he finished second at round 1. He won round 2 at Monza. He won round 3 at Spa. And then he won round 5 at Australia. The only time he ever had an issue was at Hockenheim, where it's his only DNF of the season. It's the only time he hasn't finished a race. Every other race he has made, he has finished. So he's got a huge points lead over KCG.
Yeah, so this race is dying down now. In the last few laps, the leaders are on lap 24. But Ben Gallagher's lost a heap of time to Harry. So
I'm a little surprised by that. I thought Harry Cooper would definitely lose a little bit of time. He's been running really well with that wing damage. He adjusted to that car very well.
Ben Gallagher's on the 16th lap on the mediums, which the 17th lap on the mediums actually, which will help. As Harry Saunders behind Ben is closed the gap down a little bit. The gap was 5 seconds, a couple of laps to go. Now it's 3.3 as Max sets the fastest up the Grand Prix with only 34.639. Down in P8, now give him an extra championship point. To, aid is not quite championship because his good aid his standings.
Nonetheless, though, 10 drivers on track. If everybody finishes, everybody gets a point. There's something to be said about Invictus picking up a championship point on his debut in league racing. So, Max, he may have ran the fastest lap, but he just picked up a 3-second time penalty. So, and again, the time penalties could definitely shuffle this up. So, hard to say, especially in the mid-pack. I'm a little surprised by Epic. He's currently running in 6th. He's losing a little bit of time to Charlie Sampson, who's got 8-lap-old softs. But Epic, I don't think his alternate tire strategy worked out the way he wanted it to. I think he switched over to hards too early, and
I don't think he has got much pace from this track. If I'm being honest, he wasn't correct in qualifying. Now he's on the mediums, but down in P10. Obviously risen to P6 with retirements, but He hasn't been competitive at all. I expect a little bit better to be in front of the top people as Chad behind him picks up a 3-second time penalty for the captain. Most probably the exit for the penultimate corner. He's done a really good drive in P7. There's Max in the P8. Obviously, Cabricon and Invictus rounding out the points as Rita is going to get really close to Invictus here. Invictus could get lapped with a couple of laps to go.
So Harry Saunders
Has closed the gap.
Ben Gallagher's closed the gap to Harry Cooper a little bit. Now, it's still 2.5 seconds, but this might be the point where the softs start to wear out and the car starts to come back to Ben Gallagher a little bit. 17 laps. So a lot of these guys, I'm surprised these guys are putting a lot of laps on some of these tires.
Yeah, so the penalty count is the Williams has got 2, Ben Gallagher's got 3. Harry Saunders has got 3. So Harry Saunders have to overtake Ben if you want to say P4 finish. And Ben Gallagher have to pull around about 5 seconds on Harry Cooper and the Williams to get P3. Which looks very unlikely with his tyres 18 lap, well, starting his 18th lap.
And Gallagher just lost a little bit of time in that last sector. And still, with essentially 3 laps left in this race, I mean, as you said, time penalties are still going to be an issue. So, I mean, it could be said that anybody could still pick up another 1 or 2 time penalties, which could really alternate the finishing order. And I'm wondering if Epic has any idea how many time penalties some of these drivers have. I mean, he could be looking to gain a position or 2. But he would need to pick up the pace a little bit because he's about 12 seconds off of Ben Gallagher. Yeah.
To pick up a penalty, Epic needs to get about a 10th of a second to overtake him, but he is losing a little bit of time in that middle sector. There's a race leader, Ridder, who is about to start penultimate lap, and he's driven extremely well today in that racing point. I'm a little bit fed up with me saying it now. I wouldn't mind another race winner next week, as PCG in fact does go into the pits at the end of lap 27 to see the start of lap 27, my apologies, to see what he can do on the soft tyres as Invictus to be another 3-second time penalty.
Now, obviously, this is all to just try and go for the fastest lap. And here comes Harry Cooper, though. Cooper's going to be close.
No,
not close enough.
Meanwhile,
Saunders is all over Ben Gallagher, though. When did that happen?
Yeah, and Ben Gallagher loses the back end a little bit there, the extra turn 1 on that curb, which won't help the tyres at all.
So the tires are starting to give up now for sure. The rear grip on that Alfa Romeo is gone. I mean, I'm sorry, from that Mercedes.
As Harry's having a look, and that's another 3-second time penalty for Ben Gallagher. That could be proving costly as he runs some very corner. This could be an opportunity for Harry. Will he go for it now?
Rita finally picks up a 3-second time penalty, but that's going to be inconsequential to his race result.
That's going to mean nothing. As see what Harry can do. Can he get the move done on the Mercedes?
Oh, here he comes with a head of steam. It's going to be close as they come down in the braking zone.
Harry's obviously going to go to the inside.
Saunders to the inside, and he's going to make it stick. Great pass by Harry Saunders on Ben Gallagher.
I don't think Ben will fight back with that.
And looks like Epic the Animal is going to find himself sitting in 5th after them. Oh, and Maxie Wilcox getting around Charlie Sampson. Sampson trying to get it back.
Very close, but Max does get the move done. Move himself up to the P7. Obviously, he still owns the fastest lap. But we're all waiting for what KCG can do with the next lap, which he's just starting now. The final lap of the Grand Prix.
So a couple of last lap battles. And Harry Saunders is actually within striking distance of Harry Cooper now.
Let's see what the Ferrari man can do. Will his strategy pay off?
This will be a great run by Saunders if he can get by Harry Cooper. Now, Cooper's got that wing damage.
It won't help him through the S's. The gap is half a second, and we're about to reach.
And I think Saunders is definitely going to be able to get this done heading down the backstretch once again. He could just...
I think the Williams tyres is gone. I think they've gone after 10 laps.
Yeah, Cooper's really struggling. And Saunders, he's got the DRS slot open.
Well, KCG is driving really slowly. His Carbicon just sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix as Harry does get the move done. The P3, very good last two overtakes from the Ferrari driver.
And Carbicon had a similar strategy to KCG. He sets the fastest lap. So Rita has come across the line. Rita has won this race. KCG coming out of the penultimate corner now.
He's run out of the RS. As he comes across the line. It is a fastest lap.
Fastest lap for KCG, 133.4. And Harry Saunders, a hard-fought and well-deserved third-place finish as he comes across the line. Oh, but time penalties puts Harry Cooper back into third. Where is Epic? Epic jumps to fourth spot because of time penalties. Unbelievable drive by Epic the Animal, and his record stands. He hasn't finished worse than fourth at all this season. Unbelievable. Maxie Wilcox comes across in seventh. Charlie Sampson is coming across in eighth. Carbicon, who had the fastest lap before KCG just snatched it from him. We'll see if maybe he can take it back here on the last couple of laps.
I don't think they'll be taking it. But seeing that Epic's in a quiet race, and all of a sudden he pops up, oh, he's here, and he's put himself P4 due to time penalties. Harry Saunders will be bitterly disappointed with that. Ended the race.
Carbicon comes across ninth finally, and behind him is going to be Invictus on his HTA RL Assists League debut. Going to pick up a championship point. That's nothing to scoff at. What a crazy finish. Great finish for Harry Cooper and Epic. Harry Saunders unfortunately came across third, but the time penalties kicked him back down. So Rita finds himself on top of the podium once more, and he has now extended his points lead. That is his fourth win of the season, his second one in a row.
Yeah, what a Grand Prix. I would want to be in Harry Saunders' shoes for the minute. Crossing the line in third and finishing fifth, which would be bitterly disappointing.
So here are your unofficial race results. Rita with another win followed by KCG. Harry Cooper comes across fifth but moves into third. Epic the Animal fourth. Harry Saunders drops all the way to fifth. Ben Gallagher sixth. Maxie Wilcox is seventh. Charlie Sampson was eighth. Carbicon is ninth. Invictus is 10th. And then unfortunately 11th through 15th, all DNFs. Try and catch David Walbank, Dan Thompson, AB53Mo, and Gad, all with DNFs. Unbelievable race today, and I do want to give a shout out to Anthony Johnson and I am Leet69 for joining us on the live chat, along with Ronan Connolly. Apparently he knows you.
I'll have to check on that one. But yeah, thanks for turning up to the stream, and I shall confirm if that person does know me or not. But there we are. We just finished an enjoyable race at the Circuit of the Americas, and hopefully we do it all again next week.
We will do it next week. Unfortunately, I don't know what the schedule is. I don't think they gave me that information. Don't have as much info on this league as the other ones that I deal with. Next week is going to be China, round 7. And again, we'll be looking forward to another exciting race and see if KCG can close down that points gap. Big day today. That's a really unbelievable run by by Epic the Animal, and even Anthony Johnson points out that a nice drive by Epic the Animal. Really hasn't finished any worse than fourth this year. He's actually finished every single race, I believe. I don't think Epic has a DNF, so he's definitely still mathematically in this championship points battle, even though it's only a 14-round championship as we wait for the F1 2020 game to come out. So, big time race today. We're going to do it all again next week. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. You can check out the HTA RL. That's Hit the Apex Racing League. You can check out the No Assists League. They call that the Elite League. If you guys want to check out the big boys, you can check out their videos as well. They race earlier in the day. I don't commentate for them, but you can also race with them if you got the gusto and the ability to do it. It was never my my wheelhouse, but
Wish it was.
But guys, be sure to check us out again next week. We're going to do it again Saturday, same time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. I'm KAMIKAZE-FOX. Ozone Leaston with me in the booth once again, and we'll do it all again next week. We'll see everybody at the next round.